to be here with you tonight. I am hoping for a little immediate feedback to make sure that you're seeing me and hearing me. So I've got live chat up on another computer over there. So can somebody type in just a little hello? Yeah, we see you. So I know that we're good to go. I'd appreciate that. And I know there is a, 10 to 45 second delay. So I will be just kind of chatting at you here for a minute. Super excited today. We just literally minutes ago did another assignment of contract, and I want to tell you a little bit about that one because it actually plays very well into tonight's topic, which is making offers on houses sight unseen. But before I delve into that, again, well, I'm hoping somebody types something. I see a hi everyone and hi Jerry. So somebody type a hey Gena, we see you in there, and then I'll really get into the meat of tonight. But in the meantime, I want to show you a book. See this book? It's called Your Body's Many Cries for Water, written by forgive me for butchering this guy's name, Manjahalidi, MD. This is a book that was recommended to me at UPW, at Tony Robbins' event, over a year ago, and I came away with so many recommended reads from that event. And I think this might be the last one that I'm getting to. And it is about our body's need for water. And it's fascinating. The theory that this guy espouses is that much of our diseases that we experience is from a lifetime of dehydration. And that when your mouth is actually dry, you are way beyond needing water. And I see. S. Madsen, thank you. I see you in your water. Awesome. Thanks for that. I think a lot of you know that. And when you go to Tony's events, if any of you have had a chance, a lot of you have had a chance to get to Tony Robbins events, he always has everybody, okay, take a sip of water. And he does that about every 10, 15 minutes. And I'm realizing it's just so very important. Our body, as I'm sure you know, is made up highly of water. And there's been this medical theory for a long time that the water is just kind of the filler and our solid stuff's what's important. And this MD proposes it's really quite the contrary, that the water is what's important. So I'm not trying to act like I'm a doctor or anything like that, but I find this fascinating. I find it really encouraging to continue to up my consumption of water. I believe it's supposed to be an ounce of water for every pound that you weigh. My son, John, who's also my partner, was doing that recently because he was going to play in that one-on-one tournament that's held in Spokane. It's the biggest one-on-one tournament in the country, actually in the world. And he was over here working 2-3 days in a row prior to that event and doing his 1 ounce per 1 pound. And he's a big guy, he's like, 220 or something like that. Man, that was a lot of water. And he spent a lot of time in the bathroom. But you know what? It works. And I know I always feel better when I drink sufficient water. I do like my black coffee and my red wine, but it's no substitute. And in fact, those things are dehydrating. So there you have my little totally off topic opening for tonight. But go get a glass of water. I'll wait for you. I won't really wait. But other thing I just want to say, I want to share with you, because I think of you guys as my friends and my IE family. I have had just a really, really blessed, wonderful, rewarding 2 weeks. And the reason I want to share this with you is to encourage you. Those of you who know my story, I was a stay-at-home mom, housewife for 20 some years. I found real estate investing at age 54, knew less than nothing about it when I started. And here I am 6 years later. My husband, Nick, left his job about a month ago to pursue his passion of acting full-time. We are living off our rental income and the additional deals that I get done. It's such a blessing, guys. This opportunity is something you have just got to grab hold of. And it was so much fun. A week ago, Nick and I went up to Michigan and spent several days and nights with John and Julie Wakefield. Hi, John and Julie, if you're watching. Good friends of mine. And how do I know them? Through real estate investing. I buy a lot of deals from them, and they're just awesome folks. So we went up to their house on the lake, on Lake James, and spent time on their pontoon and just celebrated life and friendship and real estate investing, because that's how we both got to the life we're able to enjoy today. And then directly from there, well, I got to go home for one night, and then I flew to West Palm Beach, Florida, where I had a boots on the ground class to teach, which is always so rewarding. I love doing that. But the thing that was really special about that is I was able to take my two youngest daughters, Grace, who's 22, and Hannah, who's 19, with me. We stayed in Palm Beach and played in the beach, went, did a little snorkeling, hung up by the pool, had some fancy cocktails with the one who's 22 at poolside, and learned about the turtles, saw a little baby turtle crawling into the ocean, spent one extra night there at a really super resort. And again, please forgive me, I'm not bragging. I am sharing with you the kind of life that you can achieve if you are just persistent and stay with this real estate investing. So I hope that you find that encouraging. I certainly feel blessed beyond all measure that I was able to become a real estate investor. It's amazing, you know, and don't look back with regret. I told you I found this when I'm 54. I'm 60 now. Yeah, wouldn't have been cool if I found it at 40 or 20, but I didn't. I did the best I could until then, as did my husband, and now we know something new and we're doing it. My son, John, a lot of you know who he is. He's 29. He's become my full-time partner the last year and a half, and, you know, is just doing an awesome job and enjoying his new freedom in life as well. Uh-oh, my other screen went down. Okay, good. Looks like we're still okay. All right, so on to tonight's subject, which is about making offers without looking at the property. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about this today is I get a lot of questions about that. How on earth can you come up with an offer without having seen the property? The reason John, my partner, my son partner, I call him my PS, my partner son, the reason he is not with you this evening, in case some of you were expecting him, is because he had to go close a deal. He had to go get a check, 2 checks, an earnest money check and an assignment fee from a brand new buyer we have on a deal we have under contract. And how did we get that deal? 25-1 right here in Seattle. It's a tight and fast moving market. I dare you to find one tighter or faster moving or more expensive for that matter. Oh, sure, there's a few, but I mean, we're in that top. So don't ever whine to me about in my market. I got one of those too, and it can be done. But you know, the beauty of us experts on IE is that we are actually real, active, experienced investors. So when we're telling you stuff, it's because we do it. So John was supposed to talk to you tonight about getting organized and having systems, and he's got an incredible amount of information. He is going to share with you that first week in August. We simply switched time spots. He and I have really been working hard on streamlining and systematizing our business. And I think what he has to share with you in a couple weeks is going to really be of benefit. But I hopped in here tonight to talk to you about making offers. So, you know, I know it seems crazy to make an offer on a property that you haven't seen. First of all, let me say this. You need to go look at a lot of properties. If you are a relatively new investor, if you haven't done any deals, or maybe you've only done a couple deals, I still think it behooves you, it benefits you greatly to look at, you know, 100 properties before you start implementing offers sight unseen. And that's not that hard to do if you work with 3 or 4 different agents. I like to be very loyal to my agent for sure. I want them to make commission after commission. So I don't have them competing one against the other, but rather I divide them geographically. So let's talk about what is your market. You cannot think of your market as your neighborhood that you live in. That is just too limiting. First of all, most investment neighborhoods are going to be those sweet spot, middle class starter home neighborhoods. You might live in one of those, you might not. So you have got to make a great big backyard, as I like to say. In my opinion, any place you can drive back and forth to in a weekend, or at least in a 2 to 4 hour drive, that's your backyard. Okay, listen, it is true that inventory is down. It is harder to create those deals today than it was a few years ago. So you've got to expand your market. You have to be open to that. And yes, initially, if you're looking at those properties, you're going to put some miles on your car. But that is, by the way, keep track of that mileage. It's tax write-off, right? And you're going to learn so much. So I want you to get yourself 3 or 4 agents and just give, one the north side of town, one the south side. Most major metropolitan areas are divided in some logical way, this neighborhood, that neighborhood, this side of town, that. We work in about let's say from where I live or where John lives, I'd say we work probably an hour and a half in 4 different directions, all right? And we've worked farther than that. We've worked, we're probably more like 2 hours in 4 different directions for our territory. And we're putting offers in with, actually, we've got about 7 agents right now. Every week you're putting in those offers. So getting back on track here, again, go see houses initially so that when you're putting in your offer sight unseen, you know the neighborhoods, you know the house styles, you know what a typical rehab's going to cost. Now, if you're investing remotely, you're not going to be able to go see all of those houses, and you're just going to have to rely on the expertise and the eyes of 1 or 2, I prefer 2, even 3 people that you can trust in that area. I like to have a real estate agent, or 2 or 3, 2 or 3 contractors, some local wholesalers or other investors in that area that maybe you can find through a real estate investment club, maybe even a property manager, so that you have feet on the ground, you have eyes, you have people who can take a lot of pictures and videos for you. So it's just about like being there once you get to the point that you need to see the property. All right, so let's say you've been in this business for a month or 2 or 3 or 6 months, and you have walked in and out of a lot of properties. So here's what you're going to do to make your offers sight unseen. And I'm going to give you 3 different methods. I've tried them all. I think we have honed in on what's working now in our greater Seattle-Tacoma market. You're going to have to try different methods in your market. Every market is unique, and you're going to have to see what works best for you. So one way, of course, to make offers sight unseen is to work with what is the ARV? An ARV, excuse me if my eyes get averted here, I'm kind of looking for where my screen share is because I want to show you some sites. ARV, of course, is after repair value, meaning what will the house sell for after it's been nicely renovated. It's all nice and new, cleaned up for a brand new home buyer. What will it sell for? And just brief review, how do we know that? Well, we have to have comps, comparable sold properties that have sold in the last, preferably no more than 6 months. If you're a really fast moving market, as Seattle is, let's go 90 days. Properties that have sold nearby, a half mile is a good general distance. If you're a very dense neighborhood, you want to stay closer. If you're rural, you may have to go on further. Same beds, similar baths, square footage within 20% in either direction, preferably, what was I going to say? Preferably same style home, 1 story to 1 story, split to split. And also you need to stay within roughly the same year range of about 40 years built. In other words, don't compare a 1910 house to a 2000 house. Those are different animals. All right, so we look at the comps. And, once we've got a house under contract, I'm still going to encourage you to get a CMA, which is a comparable market analysis, from your real estate agent to get those sold comparables. However, 25 to 1, right? That means when you're working on listed properties, you have to put in 25 offers to get 1 accepted. And that is the correct number you want accepted. You don't want 2 or 3. That means you're paying too much. So we can't wear out our agents by asking for maybe 40 CMAs to find 25 properties to put offers on. No. That's too much work to expect from them. I want you to get those CMAs after the house is under contract, or perhaps when you're in serious negotiation, it looks like you're going to lock up the house. So how are you going to guesstimate the CMA in the meantime? Well, let me take you to a couple sites. So I'm going to hit my screen share button here, and hopefully this is going to work. If it doesn't, somebody give me feedback on over the screen here. All right, so here is, yeah, I think we're going to fly here. So I'm going to take you to another screen. I think you'll still be able to hear me. Okay. Not certain that's working. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think I did that right. Let me put my glasses on and check here. Got these reading glasses. Huh. That is not coming up. Let me open a new window and see if that will work for us. Please be patient with me for a moment. Okay. Be back with you in a second. All righty, now let me try again. All right, trying again. If this doesn't work, I'll just describe it to you. Huh. You know, it just never fails, folks, does it? I shouldn't say that. That's a pessimistic thing to say. But it just seems like, you know, you test something out and everything's cool, and then you go to do it live, and technology decides to mess you up. Let me try again. I'm not going to give up quite yet. Try it one more time here. Huh. Nope. All right. I'm not going to waste our time trying to play with technology here, so I'll just explain it to you. I think that it will be nearly as good. So how do I determine the ARV of a property without bugging my real estate agent, right? Well, one thing that I like to do is a quick peek on Zillow. Oh, I think I just got some feedback saying I see the pic. Amanda, do you see? I'm going to switch to a website here, and you tell me if you see it. Okay, somebody message me if you see this, and if not, I'm just going to go back. So what I like to do is I want to take the address of the house that I'm going to be putting an offer on, and I simply put it in Zillow, Zillow.com. And when you first put in an address of Zillow, it's going to go to a screen which is split with a map on the left and a picture with the listing on the right. Okay, I don't think you're seeing that, so I'm just going to go ahead. So you've got a picture of the listing on the right and a map on the left. Above that map on the left are filters. And what you want to do is to the drop-down filter, the first one on the left there is going to allow you to select either properties which are for sale, which are for rent, or which are sold. I want you to uncheck everything but sold. And what's going to be left there are a bunch of dots indicating houses that have been sold. Now go all the way over to the right on those filters and select, drop that down and select within the last 6 months or 90 days, and make sure you select the type of property as single family only. This will greatly reduce the number of properties you're seeing. Now those are solds, those are fact. That is not relying on this estimate. So as you look at that map, you're going to have, several different dots, and you're going to see those properties cluster into two price ranges. You're going to see a bunch of properties that are going to be your ARVs. Like in my market, it might say 339, 297, 322, 331, and then I'm going to have some other ones that might be like 250, 264, 248. Well, let's just be logical. Those low-end ones, those are your distressed properties. The higher ones, those are your ARV, your retail-ready properties. Just take a look at that, and you can just make a quick assumption, all right? If I'm seeing that 325, 339, 340, 319, I'm going to say, you know what? The ARV of this property, quick cut, is about 3.25, and I'm going to go with that. I hope that makes sense to you. All right, 3.25. From there, I'm going to take the typical amount that my cash buyer pays of ARV. Now, on the East and West Coast, in today's market, that is often as high as 80%. If you're in the Midwest or South, that's usually still at 70 or 75%. I'd say 70. So just use that for your guideline. Of course, the best answer comes from your cash buyers. In our market, I'm going to take that 325 times 80%. Now, what am I going to do for the rehab? Well, after you've figured your rehab in detail a number of times, you're going to have an idea. You're going to know the ballpark for what a general rehab costs in your market. I'll tell you right now, in my markets of suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, suburbs of Detroit, and even when I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina, $20,000. That's it. That's what it costs. That is a good medium rehab. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean carpet and paint and light fixtures and new doorknobs, a new kitchen and a new bath. Okay, that's what I mean. That is a good medium rehab. It doesn't need additional stuff like furnaces and roofs. Okay, but it's more than just paint and carpet. In Seattle, that same rehab is $40,000. If you're in a fast-moving, expensive market like I am, you could probably take 40. If you're in a more modest market like my Ohio market, you could probably just take 20. If you're in little areas of the South, I recommend you just take 15, okay? Just subtract that. So we've got the ARV minus in Seattle 80%, minus in Seattle $40,000, minus what do I want to make as a wholesaler. I always shoot for $5,000, so minus another $5,000. If it's not bank owned, that's my MAO, my maximum allowable offer. And I'm going to make my offer just a few thousand under that. All right. It's not a science. I don't like to go back and forth a whole lot, so I just leave a little room for negotiating. If it is bank owned and I'm going to have to do a back-to-back close, then I'm going to have to come in a little lower to allow for the cost of transactional funding and closing costs when I purchase it in order to resell it. Alternatively, though, we could just sell the LLC that the contract is in, which is going to save me that cost of transactional funding. Either way will work for you. All right, so that is what I do. Now, in order to determine if it's the right kind of rehab and the right kind of property, I want to simply flip through the photos and read the description of the home. When I read the description of the home, it needs to say things like, call to investors, TLC, bring your toolbox, use your imagination, cash only, as is. If it says things like move-in ready, new remodel, new roof, new windows, I don't want it, okay? Then I flip through the pictures. It does not take more than 1 or 2 pictures for me to know if that house needs to be updated. Do I see a brass light fixture? Do I see wallpaper? Do I see draperies? All right, if I see any of that, I know it's going to need a renovation. I'm just going to assume the thing needs to be gutted, okay? $40,000, 20 in your more moderate markets. Throw in those offers. We got to get in 25. You want to do 2 deals a month? That means you got to put in 50 offers. That means you've got to put in a dozen offers a week, okay? We cannot be spending an hour on our offers. Even with this method, which is the most lengthy one that I'm going to talk with you about tonight, you can do all that in, honestly, 5-10 minutes, okay? Get the offer in. Method number 2. Okay, there's a top of the market, which is represented by those houses which are renovated, ready for the homeowner, the ARV comps. Now, I mentioned earlier that on that Zillow map, you're going to see another cluster of homes. I don't mean they're clustered together, but I mean you'll see some more dots that are probably about a third less. Those are your distressed homes. A lot of those will be bank owned. Some of those will just be estate properties or just someone who's lived there for a long time, never updated it. That represents the bottom of the market. By the way, if you're focusing heavily in an area with a real estate agent, you can ask your real estate agent to one time run for you the solds that were just from Fannie Mae or just from Freddie Mac or just bank owned, and look at the price per square foot that they're selling at. That is where you need to get your deals, at or preferably below the bottom of the market. So I like to know the price per square foot that the distressed properties are selling for, and then all I do, if I'm wholesaling, if my exit strategy is purely wholesaling, which right now in Seattle, to be honest with you, it is, because people are paying too much on their flips. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lose money on my flips. Sorry, I can see that the light here is probably making me look weird. I just take that bottom of the market price. Let's say that the bottom of the market is selling at, in Seattle, would be about 175 a square foot. Now that sounds outrageous to those of you in cheaper markets. Like in Ohio, I can buy at 50, 60 a square foot. But let's say bottom of the market is 175 a square foot. Well, look, if my deal is going to appeal to other active investors who are also out there on the MLS putting in offers, right? I better bring it to them below the bottom of the market. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the square footage of the house that I want to put an offer on. If the bottom of the market is at 175, I'm going to put an offer in at 168, 170, something like that. Once an offer like that gets accepted, I can present that deal to my cash buyers at, look, I'm going to show them the bottom of the market comps. I'm going to say, here are 3 deals that sold in the last year that were the cheapest deals in the last year. And the cheapest one you see here is 175. Maybe there's another comp at 178. Maybe there's another comp at 180. My deal to you is at 172 a square foot. A better deal has not existed in the last 12 months. It's a very powerful way to present your deals. So to review, option number 2, I don't bother with the ARV. I don't bother with the renovation cost, none of that. All I do is put in offers at a price that is below the price per square foot of the cheapest thing that is sold in the last year. And I'll even go on a mile from my house, from my neighborhood, to prove this point. Okay, that's option number 2. Very quick. All you got to do is look at your square foot times lowest price of the market, throw in those offers. Option number 3. This makes no logical sense, but it works. You're going to take the listing price. Yes, I said the listed price. And if you've ever heard me talk or teach before, you know, I always say the listing price is absolutely insignificant. We don't care about it. We don't use it in our numbers. That's all true unless you're going with this third way to put in your offers. Take that listing price, multiply it by, depending on where you are, and if you're in those lesser expensive markets, I would start at 70 or 75%. If you're in a more expensive market like I am, that's moving very quickly, I'd multiply that listed price by 75% or 80. Put in 2 batches of 25 offers. Wow, I can see the sunlight is just wreaking havoc with this video. Forgive me for that, but it's kind of interesting, right? Okay, put in 2 batches of 25 offers at whatever percent you have selected of listing price. If you have not gotten anything accepted, you have not even gotten any counters, you're clearly offering too low, all right? So up that by 2 or 3%. Put in another batch or 2 of 25 offers. Now you got 3 counters and 1 accepted, you are right on. If you start at a percentage and you get, you know, a half a dozen or more counters and you get 2 or 3 accepted, you're too high, bring it down, bring it down. Now, this works in markets where people are paying too much. It works in all markets, but I have found it to be the way to go right here in Seattle. And those of you who live nearby, I'm giving you some local secrets, okay? But any of you in a fast-moving market can try this. I know Matt Larson does it in his markets as well, and he's more like in that Midwest market where you can still get a lot of deals a little more easily. So I have found that to work here. And here's the thing. If I take ARV times 80% minus rehab, minus my fee, minus any potential funding or closing costs, and I get a number that would be my offer number, and then I compare that against the bottom of the market price, it is usually so much lower than anything has sold for, that I figure my odds are like not 1 in 25, like 1 in bazillion, that it's going to get accepted because people are paying too much. Why are people paying too much? 2 primary reasons. We've got a lot of real estate investors in the market that are not educated, that do not know how to run numbers. On the other hand, we also have some investors in the market that are speculating. They're going to hold those properties for a year or 2 and hope to sell them for a bundle. Okay, you can get in trouble speculating. We also have more homeowners paying cash than there used to be. I don't know how they're finding the means to do so, but I'm finding I'm losing a lot of deals to homeowners paying cash because the market moved just so very quickly that they're finding a way to get cash. So people are paying more than makes sense. Therefore, if my offer, when I calculated ARV minus comes in substantially below the bottom of the market, I've got to go to putting in offers at the bottom of the market. If I'm putting in offers at the bottom of the market and I'm still not getting anything accepted, then I'm going to go to putting in offers at a percent of list price until I find that sweet spot where I get 1 in 25 accepted. So my partner, son John, and I have been working this Seattle market to create a wholesaling machine like crazy these last few months. And we have locked in, I think we've locked in on what is going to work for us. My goodness, I'm so sorry about this light. Let me try to move a little bit away from here. So Hopefully you can see me better. Okay, that's definitely better. So I got to tell you about this deal because it's really got some cool twists and turns. First of all, I met the real estate agent that we're working with quite by accident one day in a hotel. She heard me talking about, investing in properties, and literally turned around from the breakfast table and said, "Are you looking for a realtor? I'm a realtor." So is that God's hand or what? Okay. So we've been putting offers in with her for several months now, because we've been really trying to crack this market. It's changed so much. She's been so patient with us. It's awesome. And a part of it is because she'd like to be an investor as well. And so I think she's kind of learning as we go. So nonetheless, we get this offer accepted. In fact, it's a house that we put an offer in, a month or more ago. And we countered back and forth a little bit, and we could not come to terms with this, or to a price with this seller. He just wanted too much. Well, he came back to us via the agent saying, would we still take the house at what we had previously offered? So we went back, looked at the numbers, and said, yeah, we'll take it. And I think we were at 80% of listing price. I'm not positive. So we get this house under contract. And now we have built our buyers list every which way you can imagine. Anything that you've ever been taught, we're doing. Okay. This is why we teach it, because we do it. And we created a postlet and we blasted it out. We texted it to all of our buyers via Google Voice. We followed up with an email using Google Mail Merge to all of our buyers. We followed that up with some phone calls. I put it on Facebook. I posted it on the forum of 2 real estate investment club meetings I belong to. I made phone calls to other people. I mean, we put it on Craigslist. We did it all. And we had a number of interested buyers that one by one, flaked out. So where did we get this buyer? I just love this. From a bandit sign. We've been putting bandit signs out. Now the bandit sign we use is "We Buy Houses, Any Condition," and our Google Voice phone number. That's all we do, because there's so many cash buyers out there. I don't waste my bandit sign saying, like 3-2 got mold. I'm looking to get sellers calling me, and we get buyers calling on that sign as well. So lo and behold, John got a call from the bandit sign, and he had posted this particular bandit sign way on the north side of town. This house that we have under contract is way on the south side of town. The guy's like, "Hey, I saw your sign. Do you have anything for sale?" How classic is that? John goes, "Yeah, sure. I've got a deal right now under contract." Sends it to the guy. This guy that bought the house. Or I should say, bought the deal. John, again, the reason he's not with you tonight is because he met this guy. The guy brought the earnest money check made to the title company. The guy brought another check, full assignment fee, didn't even question whether we should get it now or later, because he knows deals are hard to find. So when you do your work as a wholesaler and you create that deal, and baby, you're creating it. They're not laying out there screaming, right? We've got to work. We've got to figure out how to make that 25-to-1 work. When you get a deal created, you will have a buyer. Of course, you got to do, like I said, you got to work every possible angle. The buyers are there, but they don't know you have the deal if you don't market it. So very fun and so cool. And the other part of this deal is we did not see this house until we literally had it under contract. And in fact, we got it under contract when I was in Michigan playing on John and Julie's boats. And John was in Canada attending a friend of his girlfriend's wedding. I mean, you can do this business from anywhere. And so we were able to kind of stall on the sign around so that we could get our full inspection period once we were both in town. So it wasn't until John returned from his trip that he went out to even see it. And then took, about 4 dozen additional pictures and made a nice video, which is the other little tidbit I want to share with you tonight. The last 2 deals we have had under contract, what has really sold those deals are the videos, folks. The videos can replace the need for your buyer to go see the house. This deal that John sold tonight, the buyer's never seen the house. Not only had we not seen the house, our cash buyer has never seen the house. And from what I understand in the brief conversation I had with John just prior to this hangout, is that the buyer was hesitating a little bit, like, well, we haven't seen the house, maybe tomorrow. John's like, whoa, let's look at these videos again. Let me walk you through. Because John had made quite a lengthy video narrating every step of the way, the highlights and the lowlights of this house, the potential and the issues, so that our cash buyer felt like indeed he had been there. So how cool is that? So my dear IE family, that is your 1, 2, 3 methods for making offers on properties sight unseen. That's what I wanted to share with you tonight. It is about 35 minutes into our hangout, and that's the meat that I had to present to you. I'm walking again with my computer, as you can tell, because I'm going to go over to my other computer now and invite you to type in any questions that you may have about this, or frankly, about anything else. We've got a little time here. I'll kind of wait a few minutes to see if we get any questions. Let me move both computers out of the sun here. Man, am I making you dizzy with all this moving around? I'm afraid I hadn't considered the fact that the sun was going to be setting in our faces when I set up to do this call. Okay, now I've got my computer over there where I can see the chat, and I've got my face over here where you can see and hear me. So please, any questions on making offers prior to seeing the property, or submitting your offers, or running the numbers, anything that we've touched on tonight. Or if we don't have anything like that, I'll still hang on here for a few minutes to answer questions you might have about anything in real estate investing. This is where we need some background music. You know, the Jeopardy theme. Da 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 da. Bum 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 ba da 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 da. Yeah, that's as good as I can sing. I gotta thank you, and you are most welcome, Isabel. So that means that there has been enough time for me to see your questions if you have any. I'm going to wait a little longer. Okay, Isabel, I'm wondering, how do we not burn out a realtor in one area for the 25-to-1? Well, that's a really, really good question, and it is a problem. And despite all of our good attempts, it's still going to happen. But I'll tell you what we do. Number one, as I said earlier in the broadcast, you can't just have one agent, but I don't want agents competing for the same areas either. So we literally divide our agents. We give each agent either 2 or 3, 4 zip codes that we say this is where we're working, or we give them a particular set of neighborhoods or side of town. Now, when you first work with an agent, you can't give them 25 offers the first week, or they're going to think you're crazy, and you are going to wear them out before you even get started. I'm going to credit this information to my mentor and friend, Matt Larson. This is what we've learned from him, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We do what we are told works, and you do what you're told works, please. The first week you're with an agent, do not give them more than 2 or 3 offers. I'd say 2. The second week, don't give them any offers. Just check back what happened to the offers I made. You always need to know what happened. What did the seller say? Was it really submitted? We want our offer submitted in writing, of course. Week 3, give that agent, if you gave him 2 the previous week, the next week give him 3 or 4, maybe 5. 4th week, just follow up on those. 5th week, now you can give maybe 5, 6, 7 offers. Next week, follow up on those. After you've done that for about 4 to 6 weeks, you can start giving them, maybe up to 10 offers a week. All right. And by then, hopefully, you'll have some deals accepted. They'll see money coming their way, and they'll hang with you longer. I'm not going to steal John's thunder when he does his hangout August 4th, I believe it is, whatever that date is, that first week of August. He's going to actually show you some of the Google documents that we've created to track this stuff. Because when you get a number of offers and agents going, you got to get really confused trying to keep it in your head or in a spiral notebook. So we've created some really pretty slick, I should say John has created some pretty slick spreadsheets for us, which he will be sharing with you. Other questions? Let's see, Amanda. Amanda missed the first option. Okay, so you can watch the replay, Amanda, but I'll tell you in brief. The first option is really just the traditional approach. ARV, after repair value, minus an estimated rehab, minus your fee, minus any closing or transactional funding cost if bank owned. And what I shared was we don't want to bother an agent with a CMA until we've got that property locked up or nearly locked up. So I go to Zillow, I use the filters to find the recent solds in the area, and I take a quick estimate just based on that. Where do I see those high-end comps selling versus the lower end, which is going to be your distressed properties? I just take a stab at that. I know that in expensive markets, a heavy medium rehab is $40,000, and cheaper ones it's $15 to $20. I use that for my rehab number. So I'm going to take that estimated ARV, I forgot to say in the review here, times a typical percentage my cash buyer wants, East and West Coast, 80%, middle of the country, 70%, minus that average rehab amount. And that's going to be my offer, minus my wholesale fee. Okay. I hope that quick review wasn't more confusing than helpful. But again, the replay will be posted and you can hear that in a little more detail. More questions? Anything else, folks? Anything I can help you with, even if it's not related to tonight's topic? I'll wait just a little bit longer here. Okay. Munish Varma, how do we, and you're welcome, how do we know which ads to put offers on? Does your realtor really give you so many listings that you can make so many offers? Well, twofold there, and that's an excellent question. Again, I've got a lot of realtors, about 6 or 7 right now, and we're working a very, very large geography. We're working about 2 hours in any direction, and you can go 4 hours in any direction. So yes, we can get a good number of listings that way. We're going to go through our listings, and we are looking for highly motivated sellers. I'm glad you brought that up because I would like to review that. For wholesaling, you really can't compete on brand new listings. You've got to be putting offers on properties that have been on the market a while. And here in Seattle, I call 14 days a while. In almost any market in the US right now, 30 days is a while. So 14 to 30 days on the market, or a price reduction, criteria number 1. Secondly, I want the houses to be vacant. Thirdly, the houses have to need work. All right, an A listing, as we call it, has all 3 of those criteria. I want to have at least 2 of those. And those are the ones I'm going to put offers on. As a wholesaler, you must use that inspection contingency. And on a brand new offer, a brand new listing, if it's priced anywhere near right, you're going to have multiple offers on those. You're going to have investors putting in offers with no inspection contingency. So for wholesaling, you really can't compete on that. Now, if I'm looking for a flip for myself, yeah, I'll put offers in on new listings, and I may even offer more than asking, but not for wholesaling. Now, in addition to that, though, we are doing our marketing to find unlisted deals. We are doing bandit signs every week. We are calling on FSBOs. We are putting ads on Craigslist. We are hanging flyers. We're doing all this stuff that we tell you guys to do. So don't neglect finding deals that way as well. Okay, let me see if I have anything else. That looks like about it. So unless I see something showing up in the next few seconds here, I'm going to wish you all a very wonderful summer. I hope you're enjoying it. Keeping you in my prayers and my thoughts. I'm pulling for your success. Please don't give up. Be persistent. Be persistent. Be persistent. Be persistent. Okay? And when you get discouraged, which I still do, we all do from time to time, come on here on IE, get on some live chat, ask one of the experts a question here. You're not alone in this, all right? Okay. Oh, let's see. Got another question from Isabel. Just so much, how can we start without overwhelm? I feel there are so many pieces I should have in place prior to the offers, title company, et cetera. Is that just an excuse? Yeah, that's an excuse, Isabel. You hit it right on the nose. That's an excuse. Now, I'm kidding a little bit, but you do not need to have everything lined up, okay? First of all, the title company is generally selected by the seller. And so it's going to be in the purchase agreement right there. And you can change that. If you should find out that title company doesn't do assignments, it's not going to be a big deal to go back and request a different title company. You don't have to have all that lined up. You need a realtor, several realtors sending you properties. You need your marketing, like your bandit signs, to get properties that are not listed, and you need your cash buyers list. You've got to create that list of cash buyers. That's the easy part, but you need to do it now so that when you get a property under contract, you're not in a panic. You've already talked to them. You know what they want, where, for how much, and that's why you put your offers in. Now, if you're brand spanking new, or even if you're not brand spanking new, but you haven't done it, go to the library here on IE and read 30 Days to Real Estate Cash. It's also at a website called deansfreebook.com. You can read 30 Days to Real Estate Cash. It is a cookbook, step-by-step process for getting wholesale deals done. It is honestly all you need. if you would simply read that book, but don't just read the book. When it says do something, stop, do it, come back, read till it says do something else, stop, do it, go back. That's how we've all learned. There is no magic. Nothing's falling in our lap. We all knew absolutely nothing to begin with. And we're just following directions of other successful people. So you simply need to do the same. Do we need an attorney to review the purchase agreement before we submit it? Okay, great. If you are putting an offer on a listed property, a property on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, you are working with a real estate agent. The real estate agent will supply you the MLS contract, or if it's bank owned, he or she will supply you with that bank or agency contract. The real estate agent can explain those contracts to you. The real estate agent will assist you in filling it out. If there's anything amiss, the title company or the attorney handling the closing will catch it and give you a call. They're not going to let something go through that isn't complete. Now, if you're making offers on properties which are not listed, because like good girls and boys, you put out your bandit signs and so forth, you are not part of the MLS unless you are a real estate agent. Therefore, you should not be using that contract. So there are a couple options. You can go to a place like Office Max. You can buy a purchase agreement. You can pull off a generic purchase agreement. I think there's even some on IE. I will tell you what I personally recommend, and it'll cost you a couple bucks. If you don't have it, you won't do it. But I like to get my purchase agreement for properties which are not listed from a real estate attorney in the state I am in. I pay for his time once to get that contract. Then I know that it is as watertight as it could be, okay, versus a generic contract, which is made with all the best intentions for everywhere in the country, but maybe your state has a little peculiarity. So what I've done is I've paid one time to get a good contract from my real estate attorney, and then I just use it over and over again. That's my recommendation to you. Looking again, see if we have more questions. And you are all so very welcome. I really enjoy doing this with you. Let's see, do we have anything else? By the way, speaking of having an attorney review things, the assignment of contract. Personally, I also like to get that from a real estate attorney in the state. Make sure it's worded properly. There are generic ones that you would probably be absolutely fine in using. If you don't have or can't afford, paying for the time of a real estate attorney right now, your cash buyers probably have a contract they use. And if you go to your real estate investment club meeting and buddy up, network, you just might be able to persuade one to give you one if they got it from an attorney. Okay, let's see. What else have we got here? Okay, that's all I see. I'm going to glance over there one or two more times while I'm saying goodnight. But persevere, folks, persevere. This can work for you. There's nothing so unique about your market or your life that you can't make it work, just like so many of us have. It's such a pleasure and such a joy and blessing to me to be able to come here, hopefully lend you a hand, push you a little bit in the right direction. You might notice I'm not too gentle. I'm just kind of more like a kick you in the pants sort of a mentor. But that's what I appreciate. I want somebody to tell me like it is and encourage me with a push to move forward. All right, you guys, have a good night. Bye-bye now.